Saludos! Welcome to another episode of The Wandering Broker. I am your host, Jose Quinones, the broker of record for Linda Vista Real Estate out of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And my co-host, MarquisaEdmond.com. What's going on, Marquisa? How are you doing today?
Man, we're doing good, aren't we? How you doing?
I am phenomenal. It's a beautiful day. And I got to give a plug. Like, this is how I know the holidays are here, man. I had to go pick up the latest copy of Coastal Style magazine. Don't that just makes you feel like, man, I want some gingerbread and some hot cocoa, it's just the seasons.
Happy holidays, man. Everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Yo, today, let's jump right in today. Today, we are going to talk about the 2-1 buy down. What the heck is that? 2-1 buy down. I've been hearing that a lot since the market has shifted. And I just wanted Marquisa to talk to us about what is a 2-1 buy down.
It is an option. In this market, we're making it happen. If you want to buy a home, you buy your home. But we are in the market of now where we need options. And sellers, you're going to help us with those options. And a 2-1 buy down is one of the options that sellers are going to help us to make home ownership possible. After all, you do want us to buy your home, right? And we want to make it happen. So a 2-1 buy down, but before we even get to that, I want to tell sellers how many options they really can provide to us, because that's how we're going to beat this market, right? A 2-1 buy down is one of them, but a seller credit, sellers need to know how much we can do with those seller credits. Seller credits give us at least 3 options I can think of right now, and that is 1, reducing closing costs, so offsetting closing costs so that buyers can have more available for what they have to pay at that closing table with their down payment and closing costs added. Everyone that's purchasing a home has closing costs, right?
Yes.
To whatever degree. Even if you don't necessarily have a down payment, say you're in the program such as USDA or your VA, you still have real closing costs. So a seller credit, it being applied to closing costs, helps to bridge that gap. And for those of us that have a small down payment or whatever we're putting down, it truly helps us to fully cross that finish line. So offsetting closing costs is one option that we have with seller credits. The second option is permanently buying down our interest rate. What does that mean? That means your buyer will have the opportunity to permanently reduce their interest rate over their 30-year or 15-year term mortgage, right? By paying points at their closing table. What does that mean at the end? The closing costs are in addition to points, right? So it is an additional cost that your buyer has so that they can afford a mortgage payment set at a lower fixed interest rate. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And I just want to ask a question. Why are we having these conversations? Why are we having those conversations now?
Because we're more in a time of where we're experiencing payment shock from having higher interest rates now. So this is our way of getting into our home with an affordable mortgage payment, even though the interest rates are not where they were during COVID.
Understood.
Right? Fair. So far we've mentioned reducing closing costs, offsetting those costs. We've mentioned permanently reducing our interest rate by paying points. And again, that's not an adjustable rate. That is a one-time fee at closing to permanently reduce your interest rate during the full term of the mortgage. And then the third option I can think of is the 2-1 buy down. Now, that is attractive. It's not new. It's attractive because buyers are actually getting a good feeling about it. And the reason why is the seller's credit, or a lender can actually help with that, but a seller's credit is applied to reducing the interest rate for the first and second year of the mortgage. More specifically, what that means is, say for instance, your interest rate is 6%, right? Okay, and your lender gives you the mortgage payment based on that 6%, and you say, "Oh my goodness, that's a little high, right? But I really want this home, and I don't want to struggle with my mortgage payments." Well, a seller giving a credit to the cost of reducing your interest rate temporarily, what that means is that buyer can go from a 6% interest rate to a 4% interest rate their first year. 4% is pretty good. That's putting us back in the good old days, right? The second year, the interest rate will go to 5%. And then the third year through to your 30 years will be at the 6% note rate that it was initially at. So your start rate is 4%. Then you go to 5% in your second year, your third year, and the remaining term is back at the 6%. You might say, hey, well, that doesn't solve my problem. But we're very hopeful that, and most homeowners in their term of the 30 years do refinance. We are hopeful that rates will still decrease. I know this week was a good week. It was a very good week in rates, by the way. Okay, we did see them come down a little bit, but we're believing that after year one, year two, you should have the opportunity to refinance. Okay, can't guarantee it, but at least we're doing away with the payment shock during the first and second year. Also, refinancing is always a good option over time, depending on the markets. You should always leave that option available to you by keeping your credit strong, right?
Right.
And keeping your debt down. That way you always can leverage yourself and have the opportunity to refinance when the market presents itself. And I believe that it will. A lot of us do.
And for me, the purpose of all this discussion is just to start the conversation. You know,
Yeah.
like even I, as I'm listening to you, I'm listening to a lot of things that I'm like, wait, I want to understand that more. And that's the purpose of this podcast, for us to start the conversation. So if you are hearing something that you need explained, or you need
Yes.
to have a deeper conversation, reach out. Where can people reach out? How can they get a hold of you, Marquisa?
Okay, you can reach me at marquisaedmond.com. My phone number is 302-824-8587. And you brought up a good point, though. I want to explain one thing. There is a cost to this, and most people are probably thinking of, okay, what is the cost, right? A 2-1 buy down. The cost is typically about 2.5% of your loan amount. That's the amount after your down payment, meaning 2.5% of your loan amount is what it's going to cost to buy down your rate for a 2-1 buy down is what it says. Now, there are other buy down options, but that's the most common. That's the most talked about right now. You can buy down your rate for 1 year. You can buy down your rate for 3 years, but the 2-1 is about where most people are sitting at. And the cost of that, is about 2.5% of your loan amount. And how does that work? Well, what will happen is your lender or your servicing lender will hold the cost of that in an escrow account. So pretty much what they're doing is subsidizing your mortgage payment for year one, year two. They hold that aside. Say you refinance like we hope we're going to be able to do in a year or two. Any funds still held for the cost of that buy down in your escrow account will be applied to your unpaid principal balance. So either way, that money is yours. It's going to benefit you. And sellers, I'm going to circle back around to you, because you are the ones that can help us with this, with the seller credit. We want your home, but we need help to do it. So we all win in this market.
And those are just additional strategies to move your home faster.
Yeah.
You know, so once again, if they need to reach out to you, what's that number again?
302-824-8587.
And outside of that, you know, you can find her online at
marquisaedmond.com.
That's right. And if you are thinking about selling or buying real estate here locally, give us a call here at Linda Vista, 302-313-1600. May you have a phenomenal day.